let's take some polar coordinates and convert those over to the rectangular coordinates. So I have 2 points we want to look at. One is the point 2 and 3/2 pi, and the other one is -8 and pi-thirds. First of all, I hope you kind of recognize that both 3/2 pi and pi-thirds, well, those are part of the 16 special angles that we see all of the time. So we may not need to use a calculator for this if we can remember what those values are. So this is my r and my theta. This is my r and my theta. So let's go ahead and use these two new conversions that we've rediscovered and solve for both x and y. So in this first one, my x equals my r, which is a 2, times my cosine of theta, which is 3/2 pi. That equals, x equals, that's 2. Cosine of 3/2 pi is 0. So I have a coordinate, an x coordinate of 0. And then if I want to look at my y coordinates, that's y equals my theta, or my r, which is 2, times the sine of 3/2 pi equals 2. Sine of 3/2 pi? Yep, -1. So that equals -2. So this one has it in its rectangular coordinates at x, y's. Let's put this as r's and thetas. Over here is x and y's. This would equal to the point x is 0 and -2. So there we figured out a conversion between polar coordinates and rectangular coordinates. -8 and pi-thirds. So my x, -8 is my radius times my cosine of theta, which is pi-thirds. That equals -8 times the cosine of pi-thirds. Look on your notes if you need to. Cosine of pi-thirds, 1/2. Multiply those on out. -8 times pi-halves gives me a -4. All right, my y coordinate, that's my r, again, which is -8 times the sine of theta. I guess I don't need that parenthesis there. I just brought it in there, but it's going to be times. -8 times the sine of 3/2, no, sine of pi-thirds. Are you guys already ahead of me on the sine of pi-thirds? That's √3/2. And multiply those two numbers together. That gives me -4 √3. So the conversion up here to x coordinates, x's and y's, I'm going to need I'm going to be a bigger space than that, is -4 and -4 √3. So there we're able to convert from polar coordinates to rectangular coordinates. Where do you think we're going next?